Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about Batman Year 1, issue number 1. Now, Batman Year 1 is kind of weird because it was not its own series, so I'm saying issue 1 even though it's not issue 1, it's part 1. It was part of the ongoing Batman series before the title got renumbered for the New 52. So in actuality, we're reading Batman issue 404, but we all know that this story is iconic. It's kind of become something of its own. So if you haven't read it yourself, you're going to hopefully enjoy it here today because it is actually a story deserving of the hype. Definitely, in my opinion, the best Batman origin. This is the origin that he got right after Crisis on Infinite Earths. That was the entire reason why this story happened and why it ended up being so popular, was because all of these characters needed new origins for this new universe after that event. So this was written by Frank Miller back when, people still like to read Frank Miller. And really what you're gonna see here very early on is that this influenced literally every single Batman origin story in the modern day. Every movie, every show, every cartoon, it literally all takes from this. Remember, this story came out in the mid-1980s, so this came out before all of it. It predated it. So if at any point you feel like, oh, well, this is kind of, what's the hype about? I've seen all this before. Remember, this is the original. That's why it's a big deal, because people loved it so much that they copied it in literally everything else. So it actually starts off with some narration, some internal monologuing from Jim Gordon as he's entering Gotham City as a cop for the very first time. We see him on a train where he says, "Gotham City, maybe it's all I deserve now. Maybe it's just my time in hell. 12 hours. My stomach's been trying to eat itself for the last 5. Barbara's flying in. I don't care how much it costs. Train's no way to come to Gotham." In an airplane, from above, all you'd see are the streets and the buildings. It'll fool you into thinking it's civilized. And then we jump to this airplane, this light that Bruce Wayne is on, and then we get some internal monologuing from him too. "From here, it's clean shafts and concrete and snowy rooftops," Bruce says, "the work of men who died generations ago. From here, it looks like an achievement. I should have taken the train. I should be closer. I should see the enemy." So just Bruce continuing his thought there. I'm not trying to read too much into it or interrupt every 5 seconds, but just to say, this already represents Bruce and Jim Gordon thinking the same way. Seeing the city, seeing the corruption, seeing the stink of Gotham the exact same way before even meeting, which is cool. It shows that they have been aligned since before they first met. It shows who they are as men at heart, which is so cool. Just such an interesting detail and showing how different they are. Coming on train, coming by plane, Gordon talking about how his wife shouldn't have to see this side of Gotham. He wants to shelter her from it, so he's gonna put her up in a plane no matter how much it costs. And then there's Bruce just on the plane, not worried about money. Could easily be just as sheltered as Jim wants his wife to be, but instead he is worried about the ground. He's like, I should be closer. So just little stuff like that. First page, right off the bat, it's the coolest thing ever to me. Jim then gets off the train. By now, Barbara's gotten her tests back. I only hate myself a little for hoping they came out negative. This is no place to raise a family. Someone calls out to him from behind. "Lieutenant James Gordon. The name's Flass. Detective Flass. Commissioner Loeb sent me to make sure you didn't miss your appointment with him. Hope you don't mind if I call you Jimmy." And he wraps his arm around him, with Jim saying, "Well, and then he interrupts him. "Welcome to Gotham, Jimmy. It's not as bad as it looks, especially if you're a cop. Cops got it made in Gotham." And then Bruce gets off his flight and is questioned by a lot of people returning to Gotham through the airport for the first time. "Welcome home, Mr. Wayne," they say. "How's it feel to be back? Any plans, Mr. Wayne? Any truth to the rumors?" We then get a little dialogue from a news reporter named Jackie. The 25-year-old heir to the Wayne millions declined to comment on rumors of romance in his life or on his plans to return to Gotham after 12 years abroad. "We'll keep you posted on Gotham's richest and best-looking native son. Tom?" "Thank you, Jackie." Following the disappearance of a key witness, Assistant District Attorney Harvey Dent has withdrawn conspiracy charges against Commissioner Loeb. We then jump to Commissioner Loeb's office where he's talking to Jim Gordon for the first time. "We're all delighted to have you on the team, Lieutenant. You'll get my best work, sir, I promise. And we are a team. A team needs team spirit, don't you think? And your record shows you've got what it takes, Jim. I know I've made my mistakes, sir. I'm grateful for this chance to prove myself." And he pulls out a box of cigarettes from his pocket. "Jim, if there's one thing I can't stand, it's smoking. What mistakes have you made, Lieutenant? You kept the media away from it. That's the bottom line, isn't it?" Jim then puts the cigarette box away back in his pocket. "I swear you won't have to worry about my honesty, Commissioner." And Loeb sits back in his chair, taking his glasses off. "Last thing on my mind, Jim. Last thing." We then get a reunion between Bruce and Alfred after 12 years, right outside Wayne Manor. "Alfred," he says, putting a hand on his shoulder. "I trust you've been well, Master Bruce." Alfred responds, "Wayne Manor, built as a fortress, generations past, to protect a fading line of royalty from an age of equals. Mother, Father, it's good to be back. Jim then continues his first day with a ride alongside Detective Flass. I knew you'd like the commissioner, Jimmy, he says, and he'll be just as good to you as you are to him. You can count on that. I keep telling myself that it's either this or pumping gas, Jim says to himself. Then I tell myself I'm doing it for Barbara. Suddenly his train of thought is cut off as Flass screeches to a halt and gets out of the car. Flass, what's... Nothing I can't handle solo, Jimmy. Stay here. He then approaches a group of teenagers hanging around outside by a dumpster. Mother know you're here, Stevie? Flass says. Oh man, one of the kids answers. We're not doing anything, he responds to Flass, before Flass punches him in the face, committing blatant assault for no reason. Jim sits back and watches. I keep talking to myself. This time I say you'd better know your facts before you bring another cop down, especially in public. Flass has had Green Beret training, I can tell, and he knows how to use his size. I watch, and I don't do a damn thing. And I memorize every move for future reference. They get back in the car. Was that necessary? Jim says. Flass then tosses him a pocket knife. He had this little beauty in his pocket. Jim then unfolds it. It's a comb, Flass. A pocket comb. Flass then keeps driving. I'm only human, Jimmy. How was I to know? We then get a brief flash ahead where Jim and Flass are driving together once again. The boys, Flass says. They've been asking me to talk to you, Jimmy. Thought maybe I could get a word in. They're worried about you, Jim shrugs. Well, I'm touched, Flass, but right now I'm worried about a homicide. Left turn. Never make it in this business if you don't learn to relax, Jimmy. I mean, we've got our own way of doing things here in Gotham. I mean, you came down pretty hard on Morgan. You know, you with the baby on the way. Call me Lieutenant. Make your next right, Gordon says, lighting a cigarette. Bruce is training outside, punching through brick pillars and kicking tree stumps. I'm not ready, he says. I have the means, the skill, but not the method. No, that's not true. I have hundreds of methods, but something's missing. Something isn't right. I have to wait. Detective Flass is talking to Commissioner Loeb. So Father Donnelly, he slips Gordon a 50 with the handshake, and Gordon looks at it like his hands got a disease. Then he throws the 50 in Padre's face, gives the squad a 2-hour lecture, and puts Shell on probation. He's just not fitting in, Commissioner. Loeb then fiddles with the pencil on his desk. I had such high hopes for him. Well, I could get the boys together, soften him up. Flass says, no. Not while I'm in town. There's enough heat on me as it is. No, you'll absolutely have to wait until I'm at the conference in Washington in 2 weeks. The engine hums gently, not quite convinced it should stop. Everything is in place. The attendant was even obliging enough to ask me for my autograph. My alibi is set. Bruce Wayne has already been sighted at the same hotel as a visiting Hollywood sex queen. That should generate sufficient rumors to account for my whereabouts for about the next few hours. We then see Bruce inside a car, doing some prosthetic makeup to alter his appearance. This is a recon mission. Until I know more, I must avoid combat. Until I'm ready, my anonymity is an obvious priority. The murder of my parents is a matter of public record. All it requires is a change in clothing, complexion, and a single, memorable, distracting detail, he says, planting a fake scar across his face underneath his eye. We then see Gordon getting out of his car and get some monologuing from him. Requested off this night shift 4 times now. Damn it, Barbara needs me at night these days. Barbara and my little James on his way. At least I hope it's a boy. Going to work, Lieutenant? Someone off panel says. You're gonna be late. May have to skip the whole night. A group of 4 guys with baseball bats suddenly appear behind him. Jim punches one in the face, sending him flying backwards. Old trick. Talking to distract me guarantees an attack from behind. Jim takes the bat from one of them and knocks him back with the handle. You should have checked my military record, idiots. I was taught to handle worse than this. And suddenly the rest of the guys start beating him with their bats, closing in on him and overpowering him. But it's been a while, he says. He gets hit in the back of the head and knocked on the ground with his glasses flying off his face. Somewhere in the middle of it, they tell me it's just a warning. They remind me that I've got a pregnant wife. Towards the end, I hear a familiar chuckle. Flass. We then see Bruce in his disguise go to the most dangerous part of town, with a lot of hookers and mafia men hanging around outside, and he actually picks a fight with one who looks like he's looking for trouble. Bruce walks up, hands in his pockets and a smile on his face, talking some smack to him, before the man swings a knife, Bruce lunging back to avoid it, and then grabs his hand, twists his wrist, while striking an elbow into his chest, and kicking him backwards onto the pavement. A prostitute comes by and stabs him in the leg, and others come to join her, likely hoping to get something out of his pockets. We then see a woman in black leather with short hair leap out of the window, saying, "Damn it." She leaps over the railing and tries to kick Bruce, but he blocks it with one hand, before punching her across the face and knocking her out. One of the hookers comes to her side. "Selina!" And Bruce then stands in place while a couple of cops pull up with their sirens on and their guns drawn. "Freeze!" they say. "If I'm caught, it's over." Bruce thinks to himself. One cop fires, shooting Bruce directly in the shoulder and drawing blood. Hey, he didn't move, man, the other cop says. He was going to, and they handcuff Bruce on the ground as he winces in pain, losing more blood. Handcuffed in the back of the police car, Bruce leans forward, listening to them talk up front. If he dies, and then Bruce interrupts. You two, stop the car, get out. What the hell? One of them says. Don't mind him, boy. Probably hopped up on some. I warned you, Bruce says. And against all odds and through the pain, he uses all of his strength to break the cuffs and free himself. Bruce then starts swinging in the front seat, causing the cops to panic and swerve off of the road. The car then turns and flips, crashing directly into the side of a semi, causing a fire. Bruce then kicks the door open and crawls out. Sirens, more police. The fire is gonna reach this tank before they get here. He stops for a minute before fleeing the scene. These men, they probably have families, he thinks to himself. We then see a news broadcast after the fact with a woman saying, smoke from the blazing police cruiser can be seen for blocks. The two officers were found unconscious 30 feet away, and after blacking out, we can see Bruce back in his own car, moaning in the front seat. I made it. We then jump back to Jim, in his car, radioing dispatch, trying to look for Flass. Detective Flass? They say. He's off duty, Lieutenant. Probably at the poker party over at Chutes. Jim then pulls up to a house where Flass is, and waits until he comes outside, staggering drunkenly. He then waits for Flass to start driving, and then runs him off the road. Flass then gets out after a crash, and draws his gun. I show him my gun. He says his name and drops his. He's big. Green Beret training. It's been 15 years since I had to take out a Green Beret. Jim then condescendingly tosses him a bat to give him a fighting chance. Even so, he deserves a handicap. Swinging the bat, Flass misses, and Jim punches him in the face. I don't crack his skull, he says. He punches him in the face again. I don't crush his larynx, he then punches him in the gut. I don't break his ribs or punch my hand through his chest. He kicks him in the face, sending him flying backwards. I do just enough to keep him out of the hospital. We then flash forward to the end of the fight. I toss his gun into the woods. It should be rusty by morning. I take his clothes off and leave him in his own cuffs by the side of the road, naked. He'll never report it. Not Flass. Too proud. He'll make up some story that involves at least 10 different attackers and never admit that I beat him. But he'll know, and he'll stay away from Barbara. Thanks, Flass. You've shown me what it takes to be a cop in Gotham City. I'm afraid I might have to die tonight, Father. We then see an existential Bruce Wayne, bleeding out in Wayne Manor after arriving home. I've tried to be patient. I've tried to wait. But I have to know. How, Father? How do I do it? What do I use to make them afraid? If I ring this bell, Alfred will come. He can stop the bleeding at any time. Another of your gifts to me, Father. I have wealth. The family manor rests above a huge cave that'll be perfect for headquarters. Even a butler with training in combat medicine. Yes, Father. I have everything. Everything but patience. I'd rather die than wait one more hour. I've waited 18 years since you died, since everything happened that night, since all sense left my life. And just then, without warning, it comes. Suddenly a bat flies through the window and lands right in front of him. I have seen it before, somewhere. It frightened me when I was a boy. Frightened me. And he smiles, looking at the bat. That's it. Yes, Father, I shall become a bat.